Hi, I'm Larry Richardson, your step-by-step chef, and it is the morning. I'm out here not too far from Mount St. Helens, the Cascade Range mountain volcano that blew its top in 1980, and that was when I was in high school. I mean, believe it or not, yeah, I'm that old. In celebration of Mount St. Helens, one of the more active volcanoes in the Cascade Range, we are going to make, as part of Cooking and Camping with the Step-by-Step Chef, a delicious, spicy mushroom and onion omelet to start the day. And that will give us the strength to hike up that mountain, or maybe just to look at it from a distance. So come on, let's cook. And here are the ingredients for our St. Helens omelet. We are going to use 2 eggs, of course. I'm going to use half of that jalapeno. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of butter. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of that Fiesta blend cheese. I'm going to salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to use probably about 1/4 of this box of mushrooms, this 8-ounce box of mushrooms. But I'm going to cook them all anyways, because then I'll have the mushrooms handy for other purposes. So just make sure that you saute those up, and then we'll use some of them in the omelet and some of them, on hamburgers and things like that. Then we have a 1/4 cup of sweet onion. You can use white onion, red onion, yellow onion, or onion. It's up to you. And we have, of course, some bear spray, just in case we have an unexpected guest. So a little bear banaka on the side if you're out in bear country cooking. You should always have that a little bit handy. So let me show you how to put all this together. So I'm sitting in my little chair close to the ground, practically squatting and cooking at the same time. This is like Cirque du Soleil of cooking shows. And so let's just prepare our vegetables first. If you're someone who touches their eyes, and maybe occasionally their nose, it's a good idea to wear gloves or work with a fork and knife when you do this, because otherwise you will remember it. You will put a spicy hot finger in your eye or in your nose or wherever. So if you think you need to protect your hands and not get this on it, then make sure to wear a glove or use a knife and fork. So I'm just mincing the jalapeno. So we're just cutting it like this. I cored it, took out the seeds, and then just cross-cutting it. It's very simple. These omelets are really easy to make, and they're so delicious. It's a great way to start the day, even when I'm out here in God only knows. I think that it literally said that on the sign as I pulled in. I mean, really, this is a pretty unique place, and it's a beautiful place, ruggedly beautiful. Strongly recommend visits to the Cascades, and St. Helens is one of my favorites because you can actually see signs of the blast that occurred 40 years ago. The trees are laid out as if they were hit by a bomb and knocked over, which essentially is what happened. A stronger than hurricane force wind came out laterally from the volcano when it blew. And so that sidewards wind blew the trees over. I mean, these were massive, beautiful trees too. But that's how nature works. And I think that's enough geology lesson for today. But it was an astonishing thing to see when I was a kid. Volcanoes in America didn't just blow up like that. And this one did. It's something to see. So what we're doing now is we're just going to mince our 1/4 cup of onion. And I'm just scoring the top of the onion close together. Don't go too deep because you only need 1/4 cup, and you'll want to use this onion in other dishes. So you just go about as deep as you think you'll need to, and this lines it nice and close together. Now I'm going perpendicular. So we did parallel, now we're doing perpendicular, which makes the little squares of our minced onion. It's really funny to work around a tripod and this little table and be so close to the ground and have my bear spray handy. Yep. And then I just cut down the face of the onion. And this will give us a 1/4 cup. And if you don't like any of these ingredients, you can leave them out. I mean, there's just so many different ways to make these dishes. And I always love to tell you that, because after you see how I make it, I like when you make it your way. Think of other things that you could add to this. I mean, heck, you could add sausage or bacon or, I don't know. Kind of the sky's the limit. And I'm just going to rinse off a couple of those mushrooms. In fact, I think I'll rinse them all off. I'll be right back. So now with the mushrooms, all we do, and if you don't want to saute all your mushrooms, you don't have to. I'm going to take out the ones that I need for this dish, and then I'll saute the rest later after I'm done. And sauteing mushrooms is very easy. You just put some butter in the pan and just under medium heat. Saute them for usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes to cook them down. You don't want them too small, but cook them down till they have that nice golden brown color. And then they're ready. They're sauteed. Throw in some onions too. Oh, I have a recipe for that on StepByStepChef.com that is actually doing pretty well. It's getting a fair number of views. People have used it as side dishes at parties and been a big hit. So I took I kind of lost count, but I guess this is the fourth or fifth mushroom, and this should be enough for the omelet. And it will cook down. These will cook down much smaller, so it's not going to look like this trying to wrap this in egg. These are all going to cook down. So I'll meet you over at the stove. But before I meet you over at the stove, we of course have to scramble up our eggs. You pre-scramble them for an omelet because you're going to coat the bottom of the pan with the egg mixture. So I'm just cracking my eggs as gracefully as possible out in the woods while squatting. Now what I do with the eggs is I have them in my little container, and I think you can see that, yep. Add some water, just a splash, and the water puffs up the egg. Some people use milk, but honestly you don't taste it anyway, so whether it's milk or water is fine, because you're just using such a small amount of it. And then we're going to scramble them nice and smooth. Okay, that should do. Now I'll meet you over at the stove. So here we are over at the stove. I read the instructions on how to operate it. I know you did too. And I hear the hiss. I heard the light. And if you're going to check the temperature, if it's lit or not, hold your hand up here. Don't put it close to that because the propane flame is pretty invisible. You might burn yourself. And we're just going to put our frying pan on there and let it preheat for 1 minute. And here we are back. The pan is all preheated. And I'm just adding our butter. And then the mushrooms, I gave them a little bit more of a cut. They were a little bit big pieces, and I want them to cook down quickly. So I just diced them, just cut them in half and quarters, depending on the size, so they'll be easier to work with. Now what I'm going to do is saute the mushrooms down until they just start to appear that golden brown color, and then I'll add the onion and the jalapeno. And this will take about 5 minutes, so I'll be right back. So 5 minutes later, you can see the mushrooms have cooked down quite nicely. And we're just going to quick saute the onion and the jalapeno. I don't want them super raw, but I also don't want them soggy. So I'm just going to give them a quick saute. And then we're going to set these aside, wipe out this pan, and we're going to put the egg mixture in the pan and start the omelet process. So this will just take, whoa, that jalapeno has some bite. That's better than bear spray. Oh wow, got myself. I bet there's a bear laughing in the woods. So this will take about 1 minute. I'm going to set these aside, and then we'll do the egg mixture. Okay, so I turned the heat down to just under medium. We don't want to burn the egg mixture. We want it to cook through. So the pan has some good warmth to it. There's our teaspoon of butter. And here comes our egg mixture. And what we look for with the egg mixture is for these windows, these little dark windows that are clear, We want them to turn white or yellow, and then we'll add the ingredients for the omelet. We're going to put the vegetables on this side and the cheese on that side. So this will take about a minute. So I hope you can see that. The little windows, those turned white. That means that there's a base for the other ingredients to sit on, so they won't just scorch to the pan. So I'm putting our cheese on this side. I can't wait to eat this. I'm hungry as a bear. I guess I shouldn't say that too loud. And then we put our veggies on the other side. Oh, this is going to be so tasty. I love these omelets. Omelets in the wild, who would have thunk it? And I have a bunch of omelet recipes on StepByStepChef.com, so I hope you'll check it out. And then what we do is we just cover this. We're going to cover that for 1 to 2 minutes, and we'll take a look. If the cheese is all melted and the egg is firm on the top, then we can flip the cheese side over onto the veggies, and we have an omelet. And 2 minutes later, let's take a look. Oh yeah, that is cooked through. See? That's nice and firm on that side, and there's no runny egg. That is ready to be flipped. So just take the cheesy side, stick your spatula under there, and flip it. Oh, that is perfection. Now, if liquid runs out of it when you do this, just kind of tilt it, because that's from the veggies, and just let the liquid dry up. But that's done. Yum. So congratulations. Look at what you just did. You just made this delicious Mount St. Helens spicy outdoors omelet. It's going to be absolutely delicious. You're going to love this one. Now, if you like this recipe, please visit my website, StepByStepChef.com. There you will find a printable version of this recipe and printable versions of over 175 other breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, accompanied by, this is a bonus, more step-by-step videos. Each and every one of them has a free step-by-step chef video. So you get to cook with me out in the great outdoors or in my kitchen at home. I'd rather be out here, but sometimes you got to cook at home too. The other thing you're going to find there is step-by-step videos on how to camp. I'm showing you the basics of tent camping, but it also applies glampers, RVers, people who are in cabins, and people who even just throw their sleeping bag on the ground and see what happens. That's not me. They will also find uses for the videos too. I try to include all kinds of information that's useful and makes camping enjoyable. So I hope you'll take a look. So again, my name's Larry Richardson. I am your step-by-step chef, and look at what we made. I mean, this is going to vanish quicker than I would if a bear showed up in the campground. So I'll see you in the next episode.